Hey guys, hoping all is well with everyone. So in this video, we're going to be continuing lesson 2 of the 4th grade Common Core curriculum. And last time with 2.2, we looked at the standard algorithm of composing tens. So 2.3 reviews this very important and foundational topic. Now remember, when we're composing tens, this idea of carrying is introduced as well. So keep in mind that we cannot have more than one digit of a number in a single place value. That's why carrying is so important, because it allows us to represent the next highest place value as one single digit. Okay, so we'll go ahead and jump into 2.3 here, which is the addition, reviewing the standard algorithm. This is composing hundreds. So this is building on that composing tens topic by going to a higher place value. But the strategy that we are going to be using is very similar to the one that we used with composing tens. We're just looking at it at a higher place value, but the carrying and the addition of that carrying will still take place. So the step-in question says, how could you calculate the total cost of these two items? So we have a speaker system, which is about $249, and the electric guitar being $475. So the porcupine here says that these numbers are difficult to add mentally, so I would use a written method to calculate the total. So the way that Monique did was use the standard algorithm to calculate the total. So again, when you're using the standard algorithm, what you want to do is you want to create columns that represent your place values. So let me actually go ahead and expand this page a little bit. There we go. So again, your place values going from the ones, tens, and hundreds. Okay, so what we do is we split them up into columns. But remember that really important rule: we cannot have more than one digit in a place value at one time. But if we go over 10, we have to kind of account for that, which is where that carrying comes into play. So just to kind of review her steps here, 5 plus 9 is 14, but we can't represent 14 in the ones place. We represent the ones place of 14 being 4, and then we carry that 1 being the tens place of 14, but we're representing the 1 in its own place value being the tens place. So now we can just represent 1 in the tens place and add the rest of the numbers. So 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 4 is 12. And again, we see the same challenge. We can't represent 12 in the tens place because it's a two-digit number. But what we do is we represent the ones place of 12 being 2, and then we represent the 1 of 12, or the tens place of 12, in the hundreds place, because we're carrying it from the tens place. And that's extremely important to keep in mind. Remember that when you're carrying a group of 10 from the previous place value. So here in this case, if we have 1 plus 7 plus 4, that's 12, but this is going to be 10 groups of 10, basically, being 100, because we put that 2 down in the hundreds place, okay, or in the tens place, I'm sorry. So we still have that 10 groups of 10 to account for, which is what 100 is. But now we're going to represent 100 as 1 in the hundreds place. Okay, and then we add those together and we get 1 plus 4, which is 5, plus 2, which is 7. So again, in the tens place, this first red one represents 10 groups of 1, because 10 plus 2 is 12, which is what 5 plus 9, or I'm sorry, it's 10 groups of 1 plus 4, because 10 plus 4 is 14. In this case, we have 10 plus 7 plus 4, but we have to imagine that as being in the tens place. So that's 10 plus 70 plus 40, which is 120. So we drop the 2, which is the tens place of 120, and we carry that 1, which represents 10 groups of 10, which is 100. And then we represent the 100, or the 10 groups of 10, with that red 1 in the hundreds place. So again, we've accounted for that 100, but we haven't broken any rules with having multiple digits in a single place value, and that's really important. So what does each one above the 4 and 7 mean? The 1 above the 7 represents 10 ones, because 10 ones plus 4 is 14. The 1 above the 4 in the hundreds place represents 10 groups of 10, or 100, but we represent that 100 as 1 in the hundreds place. So again, we're not accounting for multiple digits in a single place value, which we can't do. What is another way to add these numbers? Well, if we wanted to kind of approach this mentally, what you can do is try to imagine some friendly numbers. So 475 it's not the friendliest number, but it's okay. What I would do is I would do 470 plus 240 first, because those are pretty friendly to add. You still have to use the standard algorithm, but it's not as hard with the non-friendly 5 and 9. So 470 plus 240 would be 0 plus 0 is 0, 7 plus 4 is 11, and again, this will show a little more concrete of what we're doing here. This 1 represents the tens place of 110, because 7 plus 4 is 11, but that's in the tens place, so it's like 70 plus 40, that's 110. So we put the 1, which is the tens place of 110, and we carry the 1, which is now representing 100 in the hundreds place. So 1 plus 4 plus 2 is 7. Then what I would do is take that 710 and then just add the 5 and 9 to it. 5 plus 9 is 14. And then 710 plus 14 is 724. So that's definitely a strategy that you can take by making the numbers a little bit more friendly for yourself to mentally take the sum of, and then add on the non-friendlier numbers as a last step. Okay? So what steps would you follow to calculate 535 plus 196? Same strategy. We're just being really careful with rule number 1. We can't have more than one digit in one place value. And if we have to carry, we have to remember what that carrying represents. So let's go ahead and do that. So 5 plus 6 is 11. If we drop the ones place of 11, which is 1, we're going to carry the 1. That 1 represents the tens place of 11, which is 10 groups of 1. Because 10 groups of 1 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So we're still representing 11, just in a different way, where we can let this 1 represent itself in the tens place, because that's what it is. It's 10. And then we have 3 plus 9. So remember that this place is the tens place, so these are all groups of 10. So we have one group of 10 plus 3 groups of 10, which is 30, plus 9 groups of 10, which is 90. So we have 10 plus 30, which is 40, plus 9, 90, which is 130. So we're going to represent this by putting the tens place of 130, which is 3, in the tens place, and we're going to carry the 1. That 1 that we're carrying represents 10 groups of 10, or 100, because again we have 130, but we have to account for 10 groups of 10 because we can't put multiple digits in a single place value. So this 1 here in the hundreds place represents 100, but it's in its own place value. So this is 100, this is 500, and then this is 100. If we add that, we get 7 in the 100s place. Okay. Alright. So rate the missing numbers here. So again, that's really important when you're carrying. It doesn't, and keep in mind too, it's not always going to be 1. Actually, I take that back. Yes, it will be. If we are carrying, it will be 1 if it is 2 numbers that we are adding together. But if you had multiple 3-digit numbers, you can carry 2 and 3 and higher numbers, and what that represents is 2 groups of 10 or 20 or 3 groups of 100 or 300. So keep that in mind, and if we come across that, I'll definitely point it out. But since these are just two numbers that we're adding together, the highest that we would carry for right now is 1, or 10 groups of 1 or 10. And I'll go into more detail with that as we go forward here. So for the step-up question on this page, it wants us to estimate each total, then use a standard algorithm to calculate the exact total. So let's go ahead and round these to the nearest 10, just for the practice. So 534, we would look at our tens place. That's the place in question. We look to the right. It's 4 or less. So this is going to go to 530. And then 286 will round up to 290. And if we add these together, this is going to be 0. 3 plus 9 is 12. Carry the 1. That 1 representing 100, because 30 plus 90 is 120, because this is in the tens place. And then 1 plus 5 plus 2 is 8, but that represents 800. So that's 820. So our sum should be around 820. Okay. So we'll go ahead and put that there. And let's go ahead and take our sum. So 4 plus 6 is 10. We're going to represent that ones place of 10 being 0 in the ones place, but we're going to carry that 1. That 1's going to represent 10 groups of 1 or 1 group of 10. But now it's represented in its own place value, being the tens place. So now we have 10 plus 30 plus 8. So remember, this group here are tens of something, are groups of 10. So this is 1 group of 10, 3 groups of 10, 8 groups of 10. 10 plus 30 plus 80 is 120. But now we have to represent the tens place of 120 being 2. And we're going to carry that 1. Okay. And then our last step, again, now we're in the hundreds place. So each of these numbers represent that many hundreds. So we have 100 plus 500 plus 200 is going to give us 800, but that's going to be 8 100s. So that's where we represent 820. Okay? Alright, let's look at the next question here. So we'll go ahead and estimate. So 483 would round to 480. 36 would round to 40. So 480 plus 40 would be 520 should be our estimate. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead. So adding the numbers, and again, this always helps, go ahead and put your place values and what they mean. So you have ones, tens, and hundreds. So 3 plus 6 is 9, but in this case we don't have to carry anything because 9 is a one-digit number, so it can represent itself in the ones place without being multiple digits. So we don't have to carry anything here. 8 plus 3, but remember, this is the tens place, so this is 80 plus 30. So 80 plus 30 is 110, so we take the tens place of that and represent it in the tens place being 1, because 110, the tens place of that is 1, and then we carry the 1, which represents 100, or 10 groups of 10. So now we have 1 plus 4, but they represent that many groups of 100. So we have 100 plus 400 is 500, so we have 5 groups of 100, so we'll represent the hundreds place with a 5. Okay? Let's look at the next one. So 273 would round to 270. and 78 would round to 80, so 270 plus 80 is 350. And going back to question B here, 519 is very close to our estimate, so we were spot on there. Okay, so in this next one, we have 3 plus 8, so we're going to take the ones place of 11, which is 3 plus 8, and carry the 1, which is also the tens place of 11. Now that tens place of 1 represents itself in the tens place. So we have 10 plus 70 plus 70, that's going to be 150. So 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 7 is 15. But again, those are groups of 10. So 15 groups of 10 is 150. So now we represent the tens place of 150 being 5 here. And we carry that 1 with that 1 representing one group of 100 or 10 groups of 10. And then now that these are in the hundreds place, we have 100 plus 200, which is 300. Okay, so remember, your ultimate goal here is to make sure that you're not representing multiple digits in one single place value, and as you go from right to left, you're increasing in place value, so ones, tens, hundreds. So as you carry, if you carry a 1, as you go to the left, it represents 10 groups of higher numbers, so 10 groups of 10, 10 groups of 100, and we'll see that going forward too. So letter D here says, we'll estimate again, so 350 will round to, or 348 will round to 350, sorry about that, and then 295 will round to 300, so 350 plus 300 is going to be 650. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so 650 is our estimate. So 8 plus 5 is 13. So we put the ones place of 13 in the ones place. We carry the tens place of 13, which is 1. Now in the tens place, these all represent 10 groups of the numbers that we see. So 1 plus 4 plus 9 is 14, but that's a group of 10. So that's groups of 10, so that's 140. So we put the tens place of 140, being 4, here, and we carry the 1, which is the representation of 10 groups of 10 or 100. Now that 1 is representing itself as 100 in the hundreds place, these will be representing groups of 100. So 100 plus 300 plus 200 is 600. And then we represent that as 6 groups of 100, and we get 643. Okay? Alright, let's look at the next page here. So the next page, oops, there we go. So the next page for question 2, it says, use the table above. Estimate in your head the total money raised by each grade level. Then use the standard addition algorithm to calculate the exact total. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, just so it doesn't get confusing, is I'm going to use colors to kind of represent the grades, just to break them up. So we have second, third, fourth, and fifth grade. So I'll use blue, red, green, and purple. Yeah, I'll use purple. Okay, so going to the second grade, we have 108 plus 268. So we'll round to the nearest tenth as we did. So 108 will round to 110. 268 will round to 270. So 110 plus 270 should be 380. So that should be our estimate. So we'll do 108 plus 268. Now remember, when you're doing these, you want to make sure that you're nice and organized. So if you have to, go ahead and draw columns for your place values. There we go. Alright, so we have 8 plus 8, which is 16. So we're going to represent 16 with putting the ones place of 16 here, which is 6, and carrying that 1 representing that tens place of 16, which is 1. But now it's representing itself as a group of 10 in the tens place. So now we have 1 plus 6, but that's essentially 10 plus 60. So 10 plus 60 is 70, but since it's in the tens place, 1 plus 6 is 7. It's a one-digit number we don't have to carry. And then we have 1 plus 2, which is 3, giving us 376. And that's very close to our estimate of 380. Alright, let's look at the next grade level, which is 280, third grade, which will be 282 will round to 280, 227 will round to 230. 280 plus 230 is going to be, sorry, this is a 2. So 280 plus 230 is going to be 510. So if we take our values, 282, spread them out a little bit more this time, plus 227, and make columns. So remember, our estimate is going to be 520. So 2 plus 7 is 9. And again, we don't have to carry this time because 9 is a single digit number. So there's 9 ones in that ones place. 8 plus 2 is 10, but remember, we're in the tens place. So that's essentially 8 groups of 10 plus 2 groups of 10, or 80 plus 20, which is 100. So we'll represent the tens place of 100, which is 0. And then we'll carry the 1, which is the hundredths place of 100, now representing that 1 being a group of 100 in its own place value. So we have one group of 100 plus 2 groups of 100 plus another 2 groups of 100 being 5, which is 509, because this is representing 5 groups of 100. So that's 509, which is pretty close to 510 being our estimate. So 280 plus 230, 510. Sorry if I misstated that in my when I first took the estimate. So the next one is going to be green. So this is going to be grade 4. So we have 197, which will round to 200. And then we have 345, which will round to 350. So we should have an estimate of 550. So if we have 197 plus 345, add these together, we have so 7 plus 5 is 12. We put the ones place of 12 here, but we carry the 1. We have one group of 10 plus 9 groups of 10 plus 4 groups of 10. So 1 plus 9 plus 4 is 14, but there's 10 groups of that, so it's 140. So now we represent the tens place of 140 being 4, and then we represent that 100 in the hundredths place as 1. So now we have one group of 100 plus another one group of 100 plus 3 groups of 100, which is going to give us 542 as our total answer. And again, that's pretty close to 550 for our estimate. Okay. Alright, let's look at grade 5. So grade 5, we have 386, which will round to 390. I was afraid of choosing this color. 390. And then we have 435, which will round to 440. So 390 plus 440 is going to be 830. So that should be our estimate. Should be around 830. So let's go ahead and take that. We have 386 plus 435. Okay. Alright. So 6 plus 5 is 11. So this one will kind of go straight through. 6 plus 5 is 11. We'll carry the 1, representing the tens place of 11, being 1. 1 plus 8 plus 3 is 12, but there's 10 groups of 12, so that's going to be 120. So we put the 2, which is the tens place of 120, carry the 1, which is now 100, being represented in its own place value. So 1 plus 3 plus 4 is 8, and that's 8 groups of 100. So we have 821. Okay? So now it wants us to use our answers in question 2 to help us calculate the totals with adding multiple grades. So we'll go back to black for this. So grade 2 was 376. And grade 3 was 509. So we'll take the sum here. Alright, so 6 plus 9 is 15. So we will put the 5, carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8, but again, that represents 8 groups of 10, so this is going to be 80. So, and now, because 8 is a one-digit number, we don't have to carry anything. And then 3 plus 5 is 8 as well. So our total is 885. Okay? And then 885. So what I want to kind of do at this point right here, just to show you, is there is kind of a method to this madness, and I want to show it kind of in a different way. So let's go ahead and look at this from a different viewpoint. So we have 376 plus 509. Alright. And I'm going to do my columns here, and I'm going to represent each place. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to represent each place value, but I'm also going to make a little list on the right hand side to show you what each place value kind of, or how many of each ones there are, how many tens there are, how many hundreds there are. And when we add those together, you'll see that it represents the same number that we come up with. So in the ones place we have 6 plus 9, which is 15. So I'm going to put 15 ones here. Okay. Alright. So I'm going to do this. Okay. Now, in this next one, I'm going to show this by not adding the 1 because I've already let it represent itself in the ones place. Okay. So 7 plus 0 is 0, but that's the tens place, so that's 70. Okay. And then in the hundreds place we have 800, or we have 3 plus 5, which is 8, which is representing 8 groups of 100, which is 800. Now, since I didn't carry, if I added all of this together, this is what I get. I get 5 plus 0 is 5 plus 0 plus 0 is 5. 1 plus 7 is 8. And 8 brought down is 8. So, whoops. Sorry about that. Hold on 1 second. There we go. So again, if we don't carry and we let each column represent its values as like kind of like as if we were to represent them as multiple digits, you can see that each place value when added together still represents our solution. But again, we want to use a standard algorithm and make sure that we don't represent multiple digits in a single place value, which is why this carrying is so important. But the reason I didn't carry here was to show you that if we had 15 ones, that's the same as 5 ones plus one group of 10. Okay. Alright, so I just wanted to kind of show you that, just to show you kind of how the carrying does represent the same values as if we were to represent each place value with multiple digits. Alright, let's look at part B here. So grades 2 and 4. So grade 2 was 376. And 4th grade was 542. Alright, so let's go ahead and take the sum here. So 6 plus 2 is 8, so there's only 8 ones, so we don't have to carry because that's a single digit, so we don't have to worry about carrying in this case because there's only 8 ones. 7 plus 4 is 11, so again we're going to represent this as groups of 10. So when we see 7 plus 4 in the tens place, that's essentially the same as 70 plus 40, which is 110. So we take the tens place of 110 and represent it in the tens place under the equal bar, and then we carry the 1 from the hundreds place, and now it can represent itself in the hundreds place as a group of 100. So now in this hundreds place we have one group of 100 plus 3 groups of 100 plus 5 groups of 100, and that's going to give us 9 groups of 100, and our answer will be 918. So the step ahead question, so let me go ahead and put the answer here. So the step ahead question essentially looks at this idea. Correct the error in this calculation, then describe the mistake in words. So let's go ahead and start with the ones place and work our way to the left as if we would using solving any other kind of math problem, and let's see what happens where we can find the mistake. So 1 plus 5 is 6. Perfect. Nothing wrong there. There's only 6 ones, so we don't have to carry. 8 plus 7 is 15. So again, remember this is the tens place, so this is essentially 80 plus 70, which is 150. So we represent that 5 as the tens place of 150, and then we carry the 1. But in this case, it did not look like they carried the 1, which is the mistake. So what we do here is we go ahead and carry the 1, and this is going to be groups of 100. So now this is 100 plus 400 plus 300, which is 800, which is where the mistake is. So this should be 856, not 756. So to put it in words, let me see if I can make this. The mistake occurs when the addition of the values in the tens place are added, but the 1 representing representing one group of 100 is not carried into the hundreds place. So again, this shows how it's really, really important to account for carrying because they represent 10 groups of the previous place value. So that avoids having multiple digits in one single place value, which we cannot do. Alright guys, I hope this helps you out. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be more than happy to assist you in any way that I can to make you more comfortable and understanding of this material. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and please take good care, and hope to see you guys again soon. We'll be continuing with lesson 2.4. Thank you so much for watching.